Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be, should men date multiple women? Well, I would say definitely yes, especially when you are reading my book, 3% Man, my first book, and implementing it and trying to get better. Because what we have to understand is that we've all seen the same movies and the same TV shows with the same themes, typically unnatural themes, especially these days when you compare to movies from, say, the 50s, or you go back to something like It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed, and you look at how men and women interacted in the old days versus how they interact now, where the roles are reversed. And so now what we have is where we're basically taught the opposite of the natural sexual polarity. Men have become, without realizing it, propagandized to be more effeminate and girly and unsure of themselves, and women have become more masculine and stoic. And therefore, when you have people, men and women both, acting unnatural and out of alignment with their natural essence, they're going to repulse each other. And so if you grown up your whole life watching the same movies and TV shows that we all have, you can't help but think the way you think. And then if you're having problems attracting and keeping women attracted in your life, if you're a guy, then you're going to have to change your approach and change your behavior. And so you have to learn a new way. You have to get experiences living and being in the way that is natural to our essences, our dominant masculine or feminine essence, depending on whether you're a man or a woman or gay, lesbian, whatever it happens to be. There's always sexual polarity that creates attraction. Without it, or when it's too similar, you become like roommates and uninterested in anything romantic. It just happens naturally. And so the key is, if you have lots of choices and lots of options, and what I loved about the movie It's a Wonderful Life is that Donna Reed, the woman's character, is trying to win over the most eligible bachelor in Bedford Falls, if you will. And so I've got two emails here. One is from a guy, he's dating two different women. One of them he's been dating for about 6 weeks, the other one for about 8 weeks. One of them he's sleeping with, the other one he's on the verge of sleeping with, but he feels really guilty. And so you can tell he's a recovering, nice guy. And then I get a second email, a guy who's about a year or two older than me, and he just, in the last week alone, he ended up hooking up with 3 different women. 2 of them are more than half his age younger, which I think is wonderful. So you get a good contrast here. You get a guy who's wrestling with, oh, I got to be a good guy, nice guy. And then you got the other guy who's just taken advantage of the buffet and his masculinity. And it shouldn't be a bad thing for a guy to have lots of different women that are attracted to him. Doesn't mean you got to date and sleep with them all, but it's nice to have choices and options because, quite frankly, this is natural. This is the way it's supposed to be. You want to be, just like I talk about in the book, you want the woman convincing you that you should be exclusive with her because she's easygoing, she's easy to get along with, she communicates well, she's submissive, she's feminine, she's loyal, she's a good teammate. And after she proves that to you, and versus her being some woman that just sleeps with anybody and belongs to the streets and is not loyal to anybody, then you can agree to become exclusive. So let's go through the first guy's email. He says, hey, Corey, I've been dating 2 women, let's call them Jessica and Amy, for 6 and 8 weeks now, and I'm starting to feel guilty for how intimate I'm becoming with both of them. Well, dude, what you got to understand is that most women, especially attractive women, have lots of guys in their lives that want attention and want their time. And so women pretty much have choice because all day long they got dudes chasing after them, throwing their dicks at them. It's just the way it happens to be. And if you really knew and understood women, you would be shocked at, because most of the time they don't say anything, you'd be shocked at how many different dudes they're dating and sleeping with versus what they actually tell and reveal about themselves. So don't think that you're dating 2 innocent little perfect women here. Maybe they are, but the likelihood is, especially if they're really super attractive, probably not so innocent. I went to a Catholic high school, and some of the hottest, most innocent girls were the naughtiest. And especially you get into a room full of women when there's no other guys around, and if they feel comfortable with you, you would be shocked at the things that women say. I mean, all you have to do is go look at some of the videos that we've done. We did an Instagram story a couple months ago, and we asked our viewers to send us some of their funny and awkward sex stories. And those videos, especially on Instagram and Facebook, are doing better than any of the videos. They get more views and more likes and engagement than anything else that we've done. And we're talking very brutally honest about life and relationships and sex and bodily fluids and all that stuff. And you tell the girls are very comfortable with this. And a lot of dudes get up in their, all butthurt and up in their feelings, and they get offended and upset at these things. But that's why most of the time women just, with the average guy, they don't ever disclose these things. They'll present an image that they're just this innocent little flower. But when the guys leave, it's just the things that women say when guys aren't around. You'd be shocked. And you kind of get a little window into that with the funny and awkward sex stories that we've been sharing. So the world isn't exactly the way most guys think it is. We are sexual beings. We got here through sex, all of us. For most people, they think the thought of their parents getting it on kind of grosses them out. But we're all sexual beings, so get over it. He says, on one hand, I feel like dating multiple women has been a huge benefit for me. Yeah, because if you just date one woman, especially after you've read the book, and you really like her, you're going to tend to pedestalize her. When you start to pedestalize a woman, you start to be extra nice, extra compliant, a little soft. She pushes you around, you let her get away with it. And then she starts to perceive you as being weak and a pushover, and this doesn't make her feel safe to be in your presence. It doesn't feel like she doesn't feel like she can trust your masculine core. And so when you have multiple choices and multiple options, and you're not in a rush to get serious with any of them, women will work harder to lock you down. And this is just, quite frankly, naturally the way they are. If you don't like it, don't care. You can cry to the big man upstairs. He says, I have more confidence, less tunnel vision, and one-itis, and can really take my time to evaluate whether each woman has what I want long term. Exactly. And you even saw this in the movie It's a Wonderful Life, because there were other pretty girls in Bedford Falls who were also trying to get George Bailey, Jimmy Stewart's character's attention. And the reality is, if you got multiple women competing for you, and women know that other women are interested in dating and sleeping with you and are sleeping with you, they will work harder to win you over. Because guys that get lots of attention from women are the most desired, and women are competitive like that. If a woman finds out you're popular and you got lots of girls that like you and you date and potentially you're sleeping with them, they like you more versus the dude that's standing in the corner at the local bar with one hand in his pocket and his other arm in front of his chest with his beer or his cocktail in his hand. It's like when you can get one, you get them all. Like the old, there was two bulls at the top of the hill. The young one says to his dad, is like, hey, Dad, let's go down there and get ourselves a girl. He says, no. He says, let's run down there and get ourselves a girl. He says, no, let's walk down there and get them all. He says, the problem is, at this point, I've started sleeping with Jessica consistently, and now Amy is wanting to sleep together as well. That's not a problem. Just wanted you to know. That's a good thing. It's a good issue to have. And who are you to decline Jessica and Amy from getting to enjoy your sexy body? As an old friend of mine used to always say, if the good Lord's willing to give it, I'm willing to take it. For some reason, having sex is a line that I'm not comfortable crossing with two women at the same time. Well, you got to shake off that nice guy facade once and for all. If you're not committed to either one of them, you're test driving both cars. Do you feel guilty when you're shopping for cars? You go to multiple car dealerships and test drive multiple cars? I wouldn't think so. You're looking to get the best deal for yourself. So if you've got multiple women interested in you and both want to date you and sleep with you because you're a good dude and you behave attractive most of the time, what's the issue? It's like you are perceiving that women perceive you in the same way that you perceive them. And it's just simply not accurate, dude. Like I said, case in point, Go watch the videos, the funny and awkward sex stories with the girls. They're hilarious. I mean, we had an absolute blast filming these, and that's one of the reasons why they do so well. Because we're talking about things that people think and they say in quiet and they don't want to say out loud, and that's just the way the ladies are. They're just as dirty, actually dirtier than you are. That's the reality. He says, partly because I wonder if it is wrong and deceptive. Women do it all the time, dude. Women will be dating and sleeping with 2 or 3 different guys at the same time. It's like all those beautiful, innocent girls that you think are so innocent. Man, come on, man. You have no idea. He says, I haven't had the exclusivity talk with either of them. You're not obligated for anything. Again, if you are familiar with the book, then they should be competing to get you to commit to one of them. Or maybe a 3rd or 4th woman that you haven't even met yet. The goal is for you to get the best one that you can. And therefore, you need to test drive all of them. And then pick the one that you love the best and you want to spend the time with the most and who treats you like I talked about in the beginning. Easygoing, easy to get along with, all the different things that I discuss. He says, my ultimate goal is to find a long-term relationship and get married. Well, all relationships start out as casual love affairs. And so if you're dating and sleeping with multiple women, obviously practicing safe sex, may the best girl win. That should be your attitude. He says, and both Jessica and Amy are potential candidates for that. I just haven't gotten to know them enough for me to know that or to feel comfortable being exclusive. There are yellow and red flags that I need to make sure are resolved before committing to one or the other. So you're got yourself in a binary choice now. And so 1 is no choice, 2 is a dilemma. So you have yourself a dilemma here. 3 is a choice. So if I were you, I would be adding at least 2 or 3 more girls to your rotation and your dating prospects instead of pedestalizing these 2 girls and thinking, okay, it's one or the other. That's not a choice, dude. That's a dilemma. And you need to feel like you've seen everything that's out there and you've kind of been around. He says, I haven't brought up that I'm dating other women. Well, it's none of their business anyway. And I'm sure they're not telling you about the other guys that they're talking to. There may be exes in the background you don't know anything about. He says, because I just wanted to focus on hanging out, having fun, and hooking up, as you put it. Well, a man's job in the courtship process is to create an opportunity for sex tapping. Hang out, have fun, hook up. That's it. Not lock them down to a commitment. Remember, It's a Wonderful Life. You got Mary trying to lock George Bailey down. She's had a crush on him her whole life. And she shows herself to be the best top prospect in town. And eventually, in the end of the movie, they live happily ever after. He says, however, now that I've been seeing both of them for almost 2 months, and now both want to sleep with me, I feel like I'm being deceptive or doing something wrong because you're a nice guy. Because, again, you've been beta maleized, if you will, by the propaganda in society. It makes you feel guilty. But quite frankly, women don't feel guilty. They just don't tell you about what they really do when you're not around. He says, Jessica has told me from date 2 that she is only dating me, but I haven't told her that I'm only dating her. Although maybe she assumes it. Well, that's on her. Is it okay for me to be seeing both women non-exclusively at this point? Yes. And hooking up if I haven't explicitly told them about each other? Yes. And I'll tell you another reason why. Because you've been with these women almost 2 months now, and only one of them you're sleeping with. And if you had actually been applying what's in 3% Man properly, both of these women would be head over heels in love with you by now and trying to lock you down. And so the fact that they're not there tells me that you're probably not applying what's in the book properly. You're still too much of a soft, nice guy. Should I initiate that conversation? No. What part of hang out, have fun, hook up includes a relationship or locking them down? Nothing. It's not your responsibility. Feminine energy is bonding, connecting, opening up to receive love, dating, relationship labels, commitments. He says, how should I handle this situation? Keep doing what you're doing, and I would sleep with the other girl. And on top of that, I'd be talking to 2 or 3 others because you're new to this. And so you're like, ooh, first time in your life, I got 2 different women interested in me. Oh my God, what do I do? It's like, you got a dilemma. You don't have enough information or enough prospects to make a decision on who should be the woman you marry. You're just not experienced enough, dude. He said, I really want to have integrity and treat these women with respect, and I'm afraid that if they find out about each other, I will come across as a douchebag. No, you won't. You'll come across as a stud. Even if they complain and they get mad about it, you're like, hey, what am I supposed to do? It's like, what can I do about this sexiness? It's like, yeah, it's also possible that they find out you may lose one or both of them. You want a woman that accepts you for who you are. You want a woman that doesn't get super mad and pissed off and give you a hard time, but she recognizes, wow, I am dating a high value man who has lots of choices and lots of options. If lots of other girls, I mean, it's right in the book. I mean, there's stories right out of the book, out of my own life, of what happens when a woman finds out that you're dating and sleeping with other women. They like you even more. That's what typically happens, even if they get upset, because they realize if they turn into an ass, all they're going to do is drive you away into the arms of another woman. Let the best woman win. Simple as that. You're not obligated to her any more than she's obligated to you. It tells me you're still stuck in the old programming, and you shouldn't feel guilty. I mean, when you look at divorce court and what happens to guys with kids and child custody and alimony and all that stuff, and if you're thinking about getting married, and especially if you live in a blue state and you want to roll the dice with that legal system, I mean, ask guys that have been raked over by the coals and been through divorce court and all those shenanigans with divorce lawyers and expensive, unpleasant divorces, or guys that can't even see their kids. And have them read your email. They'll be laughing at your face and tell you what an idiot you are for thinking this way. You need to take your time, dude. You need to make sure you get the best woman you can get. He says, I wonder if I should only be seeing one of the women, even if I'm not ready to be exclusive. Absolutely not. You need more choices, and that's part of your problem. You don't have enough choices. You have a dilemma. That's why you're having a hard time, and you're vacillating back and forth. I got to choose one or the other. And like, no, you don't. What about option 3, 4, 5, and 6? I will guarantee you there are women out there that are hotter and better and more fun to be with than either one of the two girls that you're dating. So that's just because you haven't dated enough. The idea is woman of your dreams, not to lock down the first one or two girls that are willing to sleep with you when you start applying this, because the reality is attraction is not a choice. The women are already into you. The only difference now is that you're not talking them out of dating and sleeping with you. And now you're acting more masculine and you're acting more manly, so you got all these choices now, and now you feel guilty about it. Women don't feel guilty about having dudes constantly throwing their dicks at them all day long. It's good for their ego. It makes them feel good. Grows their confidence. It makes them more selective. Well, women have to be more selective, because if they get pregnant, they got multiple decades of raising that child and interacting with whoever slipped one past the goalie. Whether it's a good choice or a bad choice doesn't matter. And so I would like to move on to our next email. He says, hi, Coach. I'm an Air Force veteran, retired. Well, thanks for your service. So he says, wow, 3 women in 1 week. I'm 54. They were 23, 26, 35, and a 19-year-old just asked me out on a date, and I didn't even approach her. I read your book 18 times, and I would say that's the difference between the first emailer and this guy. This guy's read it 18 times, and he's applying it relentlessly. And look at how he's suffering. He's suffering with a 23-year-old, a 26-year-old, and a 35, and now a 19-year-old's interested in him. It's like, it's such a rough life to be him. He says, I read your book 18 times, and I bought the audiobook, and I passed your book on to 3 other guys. Well, I appreciate it. The highest compliment you can give me is to refer your friends and family to me. I listen to the audiobook all the time, and my first threesome was last year, a blonde and a brunette, and then a second threesome with the same brunette and a different blonde. This is a man's birthright. We're sexual beings. It's like, again, you should watch some of the videos that I've done. You guys should watch the videos that I've done with the girls. Especially go check out the ones on Instagram. It will hopefully open your eyes a little bit more to their true nature and what they're really like. Not what some of those red pill douchebags have to say. He says, my girlfriend knows I don't want to be exclusive, but after every date, which is usually twice a week, we go back to my place and she gets undressed and climbs into my bed for sex with no effort on my part. Yeah, I should say not your girlfriend, but one of your girlfriends, because it's obvious you have multiple girlfriends. And she knows he's got other women, and he's like, I'm not ready to be exclusive. And that's all you have to say. The first email, same thing. It's like, I'm not ready to be exclusive. But you have to understand when you're brutally honest like that, if it comes up, you're like, yeah, I'm still dating and meeting other women. I'm just not ready to settle down yet. I like where things are going, and I want to continue exploring that. And if she gets mad, you'll say, well, I understand if you don't want to see me anymore. It's like, but I'm just not there yet. So if you're willing to be patient, great. If you want to tell me to pound sand and go on down the road, that's okay too. I'll miss you. If you change your mind, I'd love to hear from you, but it is what it is. You got to do what's right for you, and I'm going to do what's right for me. He says, one-night stands are plentiful, and they are starting to get boring, but if they throw themselves at me, I will have to accommodate. Yes, and I'm sure you will suffer through that. But that's what you want. This is where you get to, because it's like as soon as you get one, it's like they all start to come out of the woodwork, which is what's happening to the first guy. He's never had this much attention from different women before, so it's a new thing. And so his mind is probably going, this is not normal. I got to reject this. I'm having too much success, because your mind is used to failure and a pussy embargo. And obviously for the second guy, it's like the pussy embargo ended a couple of years ago. And he's enjoying it, but now he's like, hey, the one-night stands they're great, but I really want a connection. And that's the best place to be. When you have lots of choices and lots of options, the best connection comes along, and it becomes so obvious who you should be with that the other ones just eventually fade away. Except when she brings over her girlfriends for you to share, which is always delightful. He says, one-night stands are plentiful, and they are starting to get boring, but if they throw themselves at me, well, I'll have to accommodate. I started 4 new businesses that I run myself. Life is good. My relationship with my only daughter is getting better. Yeah, that's the other thing, is like when you learn 3% man, all your relationships with all women in your life will get better. He says, I'll send more info if you want, but I know your inbox is stuffed to the brim. Well, this is a good success story. If you got another one you want to send, please do send it in, and we can share with the rest of the class. So if you got a question or a challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.